What if the key to transforming Africa's transport wasn't just electric power, but space itself? Imagine vehicles that don't just drive. They communicate with satellites thousands of kilometers above Earth. A fleet so advanced, it's rewriting the rules of mobility. This isn't science fiction. It's happening right now. Today, we reveal the bold star behind Africa's first satellite-linked electric vehicle fleet, a project set to outsmart congested roads, slash energy costs, and put Africa on the map of high-tech mobility innovation. And trust me, the way they're doing it will surprise even Tesla. The company, insert fictional or real startup name if available, is challenging one of Africa's toughest problems: mobility. While most EV initiatives worldwide depend on ground-based infrastructure, charging stations, 5G networks, and expensive road sensors, this startup is leapfrogging it all with satellites. Their electric vehicles connect directly to low Earth orbit satellites, enabling real-time navigation, fleet management, and energy optimization, even in the remotest deserts, rural highways, or dense urban centers where cell towers barely exist. Here's how it works. Every vehicle is equipped with a compact satellite transceiver, paired with AI-driven software that predicts routes, monitors battery health, and finds the most efficient charging solutions, all in real time. Unlike traditional EV fleets, this network doesn't rely on fragile ground communications. Instead, it harnesses the power of orbital satellites, making it resilient during disasters, power outages, or even regional blackouts. You might ask, why Africa? Because the challenges here demand innovation. Vast distances, underdeveloped grids, and growing cities mean traditional solutions won't cut it. By skipping ground-based infrastructure and connecting straight to space, this startup gives Africa an immediate advantage, building future mobility without waiting decades for costly networks to catch up. The potential impact is staggering. Cleaner air, affordable transport, and economic growth driven by connected logistics. This isn't just about cars. It's about rewriting Africa's relationship with mobility, energy, and even space technology. In a world where EV revolutions are often led by Silicon Valley or Shanghai, Africa's first satellite-linked fleet is proving something bigger. That innovation doesn't belong to one place. It belongs to those bold enough to dream beyond Earth itself. But where did this bold idea begin? Not in a billion-dollar lab, but in a modest garage in Nairobi. A group of young engineers, frustrated by endless traffic, fuel shortages, and unreliable public transport, asked a radical question. What if cars could think beyond roads and towers? What if mobility was connected to space? Pooling savings, crowdfunding, and eventually attracting investors from across Africa and the Middle East, they launched a prototype, an EV minibus guided entirely by satellites. That prototype will become the backbone of Africa's first orbital connected transport network. At the heart of this fleet lies two breakthroughs: ultralight battery packs designed for high-heat African climates, and satellite receivers the size of a smartphone. These receivers link directly to low-orbit constellations, the same networks powering cutting-edge internet systems, delivering millisecond-level data updates. Combined with AI route mapping, the fleet can navigate through regions with no cellular coverage, optimizing charging by predicting solar energy availability and traffic density, even in areas with no grid power. Of course, the journey hasn't been without challenges. Building satellite-linked vehicles in markets where EV adoption is still emerging is risky. Critics argue about costs, battery recycling, and infrastructure. But global tech giants, from China to Silicon Valley, are quietly watching, and some are already calling this Africa's Tesla moment. Even Elon Musk, during a recent Q&A, hinted that Africa's leapfrog solutions may shape the next decade of EVs. Bold words, but not impossible. The startup's next phase? Scaling this fleet across multiple countries, linking freight, passenger, and even emergency services into one seamless orbital network. Their ultimate goal, a satellite-powered mobility ecosystem, where every vehicle, from buses to motorbikes, communicates directly with space. If successful, this could turn Africa into a proving ground for the next generation of transportation, one that skips outdated infrastructure and goes straight to the future. When the first satellites were launched decades ago, they were built for war and exploration. Today, they might just give a continent its biggest leap toward clean, connected transport. The question is, will the world follow Africa's lead? But this is only the beginning. The startup's boldest move yet? Launching its very own satellite, designed not just for navigation, but for energy mapping and predictive traffic AI. This isn't about borrowing space infrastructure, it's about owning it. If successful, it will mark the first privately owned African mobility satellite, a milestone that could shift global power balances in both space and EV technology. But Africa's leap hasn't gone unnoticed. Chinese EV manufacturers are already testing similar satellite-linked systems. European firms are pushing for partnerships. And in Silicon Valley, rumors swirl that a certain tech billionaire wants in and fast. What began as a small garage project now stands at the center of a global race. Who will dominate the skies and the roads of tomorrow? Yet beyond the headlines and rivalries lies a true story. Families breathing cleaner air, students reaching schools miles away, and doctors crossing impossible terrain to deliver care. For millions, this technology isn't just innovation, it's hope. As the countdown to their first launch begins, one question hangs in the air. Can Africa not only catch up but lead? A satellite-powered EV revolution is rising, and the world isn't ready for what comes next. Because in this race, the future of transport won't just be electric, it will be orbital. Tori, continue from where you stop. The date is set. The first African-owned mobility satellite, codenamed Nyota 1, is rolled to the launch pad in French Guiana. Around the continent, millions wait. This isn't just a test of technology. It's a test of pride, of possibility, of proving Africa can lead in the race to space-powered mobility. The startup's founders once laughed out of boardrooms, now stand on the edge of making history. But with minutes to launch, an unexpected challenge emerges. A rival consortium files an emergency petition, claiming the satellite could interfere with international orbital lanes. At the same time, whispers spread of a cyber attack attempt targeting the control systems. The team faces a choice: delay and risk losing momentum, or launch and risk everything. 10, 9, 8, every second feels like a lifetime. The engines ignite. The ground trembles. Africa's future lifts off, climbing toward the stars. At 500 kilometers above Earth, the satellite separates, and for the first time, the continent's electric fleet is connected directly to space in real time. The impact is immediate. Routes once uncharted become visible. Fleets navigate seamlessly through deserts, jungles, and megacities. In a single night, Africa joins the front lines of the orbital mobility revolution, not as a follower, but as a pioneer. Yet as celebrations erupt, new challenges emerge. Competitors accelerate. Governments impose new regulations. And deep in Silicon Valley and Shanghai, eyes are already on Nyota 2, rumored to be twice as powerful and twice as secretive. The question now isn't whether Africa has arrived, but whether the world is ready for what's coming next. Understood. I'll continue right after that line about whether the world is ready and escalate the narrative into geopolitical tensions, corporate espionage, and the startup's bold next step without ending it yet. Within hours, the world reacts. Stock markets ripple. Auto giants scramble emergency meetings. Satellite operators in Europe and Asia demand urgent consultations. Africa's startup, once dismissed as a local curiosity, is now at the center of global mobility strategy. But admiration quickly turns to anxiety. Who controls the data? Who owns the orbital lanes? And more importantly, what happens if this technology is weaponized? As Nyota 1 circles the Earth, intelligence agencies detect unusual movement, rival satellites drifting dangerously close. Some call it routine. Others whisper about espionage. In the shadows of space, an invisible battle for Africa's mobility future has already begun. The founders know one thing: the world won't wait. Plans are drawn for Nyota 2, a satellite designed not just for EV navigation, but for energy trading between vehicles, a system so advanced it could turn every electric car into part of a continent-wide power grid. But this leap won't come cheap. Funding negotiations with Middle Eastern investors spark controversy, while Western tech giants quietly prepare competing offers and threats. Within Africa itself, unity is tested. Some nations embrace the orbital fleet, seeing it as a key to leapfrogging development. Others fear dependence on a private startup controlling essential transport and energy data from space. And in the midst of this chaos, rumors surface of a secret partnership with South American Space Agency, hinting that this revolution might soon spread far beyond Africa's borders. 2 weeks after Nyota 1's launch, disaster strikes. Unexplained anomalies ripple through the satellite systems. Navigation signals flicker. Fleets on the ground stall mid-journey. Stranded in deserts and highways. Engineers scramble, suspecting software errors, but the truth is far darker. Intercepted transmissions reveal traces of foreign code injected into Nyota 1's network, a cyber attack originating from unknown coordinates in the South Pacific. With the world watching, the startup faces an impossible choice: allow Nyota 1 to drift offline, collapsing Africa's EV grid, or attempt a remote in-orbit software patch, something never done at this scale. For 36 hours straight, the team works without sleep, as EVs sit silent across highways and rural roads. The fate of a continent's transport hangs on a single line of code. Then, an unexpected call. A South American agency offers assistance. Their tracking stations capable of relaying emergency commands to Nyota 1. But their help comes with a price: access to Africa's orbital mobility data and a seat at the table for Nyota 2. In the dead of night, a desperate alliance is forged, one that will redefine global tech alliances for decades to come. The patch is uploaded. Seconds stretch into lifetimes. Engineers whisper prayers. Then, in one heartbeat, Nyota 1 stabilizes. Navigation restores. Across Africa, EV dashboards flicker back to life. For now, the network is saved, but the sabotage has changed everything, because whoever attacked once will strike again. Africa celebrates, but beneath the applause, suspicions rise. How did foreign code breach a private satellite? And why did the South American agency help so quickly, almost as if they were waiting? Internal audits uncover something chilling. Fragments of Nyota 1's blueprint have leaked, but from inside the company itself. Someone within the founding team has been feeding intel to a rival, a shadowy coalition of Asian and European mobility giants preparing their own orbital fleet, codenamed AuroraNet. AuroraNet isn't just competition. It's designed to hijack Nyota 1 signals, turning Africa's fleet into a weapon against itself. Weeks later, surveillance satellites detect a launch, unpublicized, unclaimed. The payload? A classified satellite matching AuroraNet's rumored specs. Its trajectory, unnervingly close to Nyota 1's orbital path. For the first time, Africa's startup realizes this isn't just about transport. It's about control of low Earth orbit itself. Divisions tear through the team. Some argue for diplomacy, negotiating shared orbital lanes to avoid conflict. Others demand escalation, fast-tracking Nyota 2 with defensive capabilities, even at the risk of militarizing their network. As governments pressure the startup for control, the founders face their darkest question yet. Can they protect their vision without becoming what they set out to challenge? Then, discovery changes everything. Hidden deep in Nyota 1 systems is an unknown module, hardware the founders never installed. A device silently transmitting data to coordinates no one can trace. The satellite they thought they controlled may never have been fully theirs. The mole is unmasked, not a junior coder, but one of the original co-founders. Bought out by AuroraNet, they planted the hidden module in Nyota 1 long before launch, selling Africa's mobility future to foreign rivals. When confronted, they vanish, slipping beyond borders, leaving behind a single message: this is bigger than satellites. AuroraNet's satellite drifts closer, preparing to hijack Nyota 1's frequencies. The team faces an impossible choice: destroy their own satellite to prevent capture, or let it fall into enemy hands and watch their dream be weaponized. With seconds left, the founders vote. A single keystroke initiates Nyota 1's self-destruct failsafe, a burst of light over Earth's night sky, visible from deserts to megacities. In one night, Africa loses its first orbital fleet and gains something greater: resolve. The sacrifice ignites a continental movement, uniting nations to fund Nyota 2, a satellite not just for mobility, but for sovereignty. The dream survives, reborn from fire. Months later, a new rocket stands ready. This time, stronger, safer, entirely African-owned. As countdown begins anew, the world watches, no longer doubting, but wondering.